I will start work from Srikanth left, and he left with a word called incubation. I will start from that point. To introduce myself, I think I have already been introduced at the beginning, but I let me introduce something from my organizational perspective so that I can go to the topic. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to get connected to what is our experience as an organization. This is a very interesting story with the organization. We came out of, I just came out from a program with the joining in 4 states on microfinance in Port Andhra, Orissa, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh. In 2006, ended. It was supported by DFID and implemented by CARE. And therefrom, we started a journey converting into an organization. And the journey started with the premise that it will not confine to microfinance. It will be a livelihood promoting organization. That's the beginning of the point that I want to make. And therefrom, we started. We started looking at various models. We started looking at various models of livelihood promotion. From the morning, people have talked about the computation, market-led approaches, participation, computation. But we looked at from the perspective of the livelihoods and how it will enhance the income of the people. And most of our operations are all in backward and underserved regions. And that's the history of the program. And if I look at the program strategy of the organization, broadly it's covered under 3 categories. The tier 1 is the physical action program that we operate. We have about 26 operations across 9 states. And there are various stages of running. This tier 2 is we also get associated with the NRLM, EGMM, and SARC. This is a little bit of advisory services, but it's very little. And the tier 3 activity that we always work, annually we do organize a conference inviting people from across the country and practitioners, and also release a couple of contemporary books and publications like Soil Report, State of India's Livelihood Report. People is also associated writing a book on something which will be of this interest. There are other publications too, and we organize and a platform. What do we do actually in this space of livelihood promotion? Realizing the fact that the small and marginal farmers and producers, they have little surpluses. We look at how to aggregate that, and that the power of aggregation plays a critical role. And then we look at how to integrate to the market. Briefly, the way that we look at, and our first business plan in 2006 that we started operating, that we looked at various models available in the country and looked at how we can really make a sustainable impact in the community. We looked at a couple of sub-sectors where poor people, small and marginal farmers are predominantly dependent. And look at certain clusters and looked at producer collective, forgetting about the legal format of cooperative or a producer company or a federation. We looked at producer collective as one of the options available for impacting a larger scale. And we looked at a team of 3-4 people who can really work, and that's the point of incubation. Who are the people responsible for hand-holding the community, working together hand in hand, and working with them in running the business as a producer collective. What we really started is like in the very principle of SSGs, we looked at farmers and producer groups of very similar nature and bringing them under a producer collective kind of thing, and registering it as like in the Orissa context, it is like the Orissa Self-Help Act is much more pro than the producer company we thought, and in other states we started looking at the producer company format and also cooperative format and started working against that. What you looked at is a sizable number, working kind of, what is the geography, what is the work, a feasible number of farmers or producers that we can work with. Incubation process to define something, some kind of limits. So we define the disciplines, like we will hand-roll, incubate for 3 to 4 years, depending on the context, and looked at about 1,000 households, farmers, producers, as the kind of population in which one can justify working. And then looked at now since you are 5-6 years old, we look at how we geographically also consolidate. That is our regional productivity of concept. I am not going to deal much with it. I will switch over to the credit aspect. I started talking about the incubation because that felt critical, looking at all deliberations happening since morning. When you look at credit, any of us here who doesn't feel the need for credit, anyone amongst us who has never taken any loan or doesn't feel the need of credit, anyone here? Okay, one question out of two. 2% those who raised hand, who are there, 3 who have never felt the need for credit.
Not your personal.
Okay, that could be case. Yeah. But large, by and large, you look at the people, 3% out of say 50 is, if I look at the percentage, 6% of the population here present, those who don't get any credit or not have availed any credit. That's good statistics. But by and large, all of us need credit at some point of time, and the nature of credit also varies. And where from we get the credit?
You said we don't get any credit, not credit worthy.
I will come to that point. How we also pass through the process of identity crisis. I will talk about that little later. That's an interesting point that you made. See, if you look at the 3 phases when you talk of small and marginal farmers, producers, we look at the format in which it has been. The farmer SHGs, the farmer cooperatives. This year is a year of cooperative, and the farmers producer companies are collective. It is passing through. Sorry.
You have to hold it. Hold it in front of you.
I can be as louder as I don't need to actually use. I can be louder. Do I need actually a microphone? I don't need it. Please use.
No, all that we are asking you to do.
Hold it to the center.
Hold it this way and not this way.
Hold it to the center.
I will skip this thing. We kind of think over the last 5-6 years, we have promoted 11 producer companies where the things have really started moving, and another 60 those who are in various stages of formation, because we have a large SFSC program in 3 states working with 25,000 farmers. They are in different locations. So the map will show where we are located, and most of our producer companies are in operation in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Uttarakhand, West Bengal. So these are the states where we are concentrating more and more. And the names are there, and the memberships are there, and when they are registered also there. And there is also the incubation process, the lesson that we have learned. It has taken in the initial days 1.5 years to get it registered. Whether registration is required or not, that is another issue. But it has taken 1.5 years almost to get the DIN and TIN and then PAN and TAN, all these things. It takes almost 1.5 years. Yet now the processes are under our control. We can make it happen within 6 months. But it has a large, time-consuming process. When you look at the credit needs, access to finance, if you look at the sources, because he talked about, Srikanth also talked about the supply side. I like to look at the demand side as well as supply side. Where from we go, or the small and marginal farmer go to access finance. Primarily, if one look at the individual level, the informal level, the group level, as well as the producer organization. Let me tell you that the formal financial system is still suspecting the identity of the collectives and the producer organization. I have a bright example. 3 days back, one of very promising banker gave a solution to me, and I like to share this solution. She says, you have not qualified to become, taking a loan. Your producer company is not qualifying to the criteria that has been laid down. But they have shares of 500 each. We can treat this as a collateral and give you the same amount of money under one of our schemes, because they don't qualify. That particular organization doesn't qualify under the criteria laid down by the lender. Why I am coming to that, the very character of the producer company. SHGs, yes, in terms of banking, they give on a pro rata basis like 1:4 to 10 kind of thing. But in case of producer companies, since it is only happening after 2005 and 6, the very identity, like Dr. Amrita Sen talked about in Heathrow Airport, that he was asked what is your name and where from you are coming. He said my address is residence of the Master of Trinity College, and the airport authorities could understand what is Master of Trinity College. So similarly, the producer companies or any collective that we have incubated so far, in front of the banker, in front of the formal financial institution, the identity is one issue, and that's why the credit is an issue. I will come about how we have resolved that. That is the most important thing that I would like to say. There are so many sources, and why this is attractive. We know all about the informal sources. Second also talked about the informal sources, talked about the mainstream banks. NABARD has come out very recently, very attractive scheme, but it has all criteria, laid down criteria. And also there are specialized institutions. Maybe the scale is very, very limited because it is just emerging. The scale is, they need still operation of 1 to 2 years, 3-year balance sheet, and most of our collectives don't have such kind of things to get qualified for accessing credit. And when I am talking of the credit, access to credit for the producer company, in turn I mean it is access to credit, access to finance for the members, for the farmers, and also of course the interest rate part. Coming to that, with all such kind of constraints, we have come out with 3 solutions. When I am talking of the farmers, small and middle farmers, I don't distinguish between the organic farmers and non-organic farmers. The reason is, there is also a big transition happening. Some of our programs, supported by many government programs like RKVY and Atma. So